What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. And if you guys are new, welcome. We are on our push for 1,000 subscribers. Only about 60-70 more to go. We are cruising there, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you as always for coming back to the channel. Means a lot to me showing that crazy support, especially since the beginning of Witch Queen. Absolutely bonkers and off the walls. So thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. Now today, as you can see behind me right here, I want to go over the Vow of Discipline loot table and then the God roll for each one of these weapons here that we can get within the new raid here. So I'm going to get rid of my face cam and kind of show you what each of the encounters you can get. So the acquisition, that first with the obelisks, you can get the SMG, the fusion rifle, and the linear fusion rifle, along with the head, chest, and leg sets for each character. Then we move on to the caretaker, our second encounter, the submission, the Insidious pulse rifle, the linear fusion again, and then the Forbearance grenade launcher, again with helmet, arms, and then class item for this one. For exhibition, this is where you got to run through all the rooms with the different kind of relics. Again, we have the SMG and the fusion rifle. Then we have head, chest, and legs again, kind of just like the first encounter. And then we finally get to the boss in Rolk with the fourth encounter. We get the Insidious pulse rifle, Forbearer grenade launcher, and then the Lubrae ruin Glaive. His glaive that he has on his back, pretty sweet looking if you ask me. And then for our armor, we have head, arms, and class item again. So now that you kind of know where each of these drops, I'll put at the top, going over the God rolls, which encounters they come from again, just so you can always see it. But next, I want to go over the God rolls for each one of the weapons on top here. First off, we have the submission SMG here, which comes from the acquisition, the caretaker, and the exhibition encounters. So 1, 2, and 3. Now for me, for PvP first, let's go over that, and then we'll do PvE for each weapon. So for PvP for this weapon, I'm going to go with small bore, so we got that stability and range on this bad boy. Next, in our second slot, we're going to go accurized rounds, again for that crazy range on this SMG. Now this one for PvP, I'm actually going to go with perpetual motion here, just because you're always sliding around, and I think this definitely helps a lot with getting these stacks for stability, handling, and reload, especially that handling to be able to switch to the SMG a little bit faster. And then finally, in the last slot, I'm either going to go with swashbuckler, so we can get that damage boost on the defeats, or frenzy, so we can get that damage boost when we are in combat for an extended period of time. So for PvE for this one, we're going to go first off with corkscrew rifling right here for stability, range, and handling. Then next, I'm actually going to go right here with tactical mag. I know some people are probably going to go with right here with extended, but I like tactical on this for stability, a little bit of magazine, and extra reload speed. Now the fourth column, the third column here, you've got a couple options for me. I'm going to go with either overflow or subsistence in this third column here. And then again in the fourth column, I think, me personally, I'm going to go with Frenzy or Demolitionist. Frenzy is pretty easy to proc and keep that just pure damage, that 15% all the time for that 12 seconds. And then Demo, just because pairing that with something like Subsistence, you can have your grenades back all the time pretty much with Demo. So definitely a go-to for me for this one for PvE. Next off right here, we have the Deliverance fusion rifle again in our kinetic slot. So this one is a stasis fusion rifle in our kinetic. So for PvP, I'm going to go with small bore for that stability and range. Gotta have that nice little extra range for PvP. For me, I'm going to go with accelerated coils here, just so we can get that charge time that's a wee bit faster, for me at least, in PvP. In our third column here, we're going to have perpetual motion again, so you can be sliding around with this and getting that extra little bit of handling and stability on this bad boy. And finally, in this fourth column here, I think I'm going to have to go with tap the trigger, just so we can get that increased stability and accuracy on the initial trigger pull with that PvP loadout. Now for PvE, we're going to switch it up a little bit. Again though, I think I'm going to go with small bore here. Just, I love the stability and range with this weapon. In the second column though, we're going to go with liquid coils, so we can have a little extra damage on this bad boy. right here in our third column, gotta go with Demolitionist, at least for me, just so you can get that nice regen for your grenades, and getting that reload on this weapon when you throw your grenade is just kind of pairs perfectly with it, for my personal opinion at least. And then for me, I'm gonna pair that with Adrenaline Junkie, just because Demo and Adrenaline pair pretty perfectly in my opinion, so you can just get those grenade kills and keep switching them out for this Adrenaline Junkie here. And then you could also go Chill Clip. I do like this as a new perk that we got right here. Next up on our list right here, we got the Cataclysmic. This is a linear fusion rifle in our power slot, shooting solar. So for PvP, this is going to be kind of similar to Deliverance, because we got the basic same perks for the first two columns here. So for me, PvP, again, going to go with small bore for that range and stability, with accelerated coils so we can shoot a little bit faster in PvP. Now for this third column right here, I really wasn't sure what to go with. So for me, I guess I'm gonna have to go with no distractions, so you can aim down and ADS a little bit and get that less flinch on this weapon. So if you're in PvP getting shot, you aim down, you get no distractions procced, bada bing, you're good to go with that one. And then finally, I would, I guess, have to go with high impact reserves, even for PvP, just because you're not pulling too much ammo for heavy inside of the Crucible. So those extra shots will do a boom, little extra damage, as you can see right there, 3 to 6% in PvP. Now for our PVE roll for this bad boy, again, I think I gotta go with small bore. I do absolutely love it, just for that range and stability like I was saying. And again, we're gonna go with liquid coils for that faster charge time, and this one actually gives us a little plus 2% damage as well. Now for our third column, we can switch it up a little bit. I personally am gonna go with either surplus here, so we can get that increased handling, reload, and stability when we have our abilities charged, or 4th times the charm, so we can get 2 rounds back to the magazine when we are continuously hitting our headshots, so we can get a little higher DPS, combining that again right here with high impact reserves, so those last couple shots in the magazine deal 12 to 25% more damage depending on the weapon type and magazine size. So that is personally what I'm going with for this one, for our Cataclysmic heavy linear fusion from the raid. Down to our last 3 right here. Next off, we got the Insidious Pulse Rifle. It is an arc pulse rifle in our energy slot. So again, we'll go over PvP first, followed by PvE. You guys guessed it, we're gonna go with small bore again, because stability and range is key in PvP for me. At least for me, might change for you, but definitely going with small bore again for that PvP in the first column. Next, in the second column, as always for PvP, adding that little bit of range with accurized rounds thrown onto that bad boy once again. Now in this third column here, we got a couple options, but I would truly go with rapid hit. So those precision shots increases stability and reload. It makes sure you're hitting your shots, and then you can get this bad boy procced pretty easily. And then you could also go with Dragonfly, just for that extra little bit of oomph on some of those headshot precision kills. In our fourth column, kind of weird this one, I would probably go with Rampage here, just because you can get it procced on some kills, especially in 6s. But besides that, this one is kind of interesting to have for PvP, just because the last column, not really that great besides Rampage, in my personal opinion. Now for PvE, we do have a couple options again. For me, I'm actually going to go with corkscrew rifling, so I can have stability, handling, and range with this bad boy, because I'm probably going to be pairing it with like a grenade launcher or an fusion rifle, something like that. So I do kind of want to pull this out a little bit faster depending on what I'm doing for enemies. Now again, in the second column here, we can go with extended. It's kind of a personal preference, extended or tactical mag. They both give some nice magazine and reload increase, but tactical also gives you some extra stability. That's why I usually go with tactical in that second slot right there. Again, in the third slot, I'm going to go with Demolitionist or Dragonfly. Personally, I will probably go with Demolitionist, just because I do love getting kills with the weapon that give me my grenade back faster, so I can just keep hucking them downfield, especially with the Void grenades right now. Absolutely gnarly. So I'm going to pair that with either Adrenaline Junkie, because Adrenaline and Demo pair perfectly, or Vorpal actually, so we can get that nice 20% damage increase on this weapon right here. Pairing that with Demo, you can get some nice DPS on some bosses and those champions as well. So that was what I would go with, Adrenaline or Vorpal in that 4th slot for Insidious here. Next off, probably my favorite weapon from the raid so far, the Forbearance grenade launcher. This is a wave frame. Again, we're getting another one, which is amazing in the arc burn for our energy slot. So for PvP, in my opinion, I love using these in PvP. They aren't super practical for something like trials, but I do love using a good wave frame in PvP. So we're gonna go with quick launch actually for our first perk, so we can have that extra velocity and handling, so you can pull this out a little bit faster for PvP. Next, we're actually gonna go with high velocity rounds, again for a just much higher velocity with throwing these grenades around the map in PvP. In the third slot for me, I think actually right here, kills provide handling for all weapons for a short duration, steady hand or ambitious assassin, so you can get 2 grenades after you get a initial kill with this weapon, or steady hand. Like I said, very interesting to have that extra pull out speed with handling on this weapon, because you're probably pairing it with like a hand cannon or something. And then finally for PvP, I would go Rampage, not Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction is definitely a PvE perk, so we want to get this Rampage, especially if we get like Ambitious, so we can get that initial kill, get Rampage to proc, and then we got 2 ambitious assassin bolts to throw around with that extra damage on it. For PvE, we're going to go with volatile launch, so we can get that increased blast radius. Don't really care about handling or velocity for PvE. In the second column here, we're going to go with high velocity rounds, just because I like it better than implosion. That's kind of a personal preference, up to you. Now, definitely the god roll for this in the last 2 slots, you want to pair ambitious assassin with chain reaction. Those 2 are going to be absolutely crazy. So all your kills have an arc explosion on it, and then the kills will give you ambitious assassin, which will proc 2 bolts to be loaded into the chamber, so you can throw 2 out real quickly. And especially with that chain reaction, you can get defeats way easier. So definitely you want an ambitious assassin chain reaction for PVE God Roll right here for the Forbearance. So last but not least, we're going to go over the Lubrae's Ruin, the glaive that you get from the boss. It is a solar energy weapon, so I'm not very good with the rolls on the glaives yet, but for PvP, this is at least what I am going to be looking for. First off, we're going to have the super cool accelerator right here, so we can have that little extra range on this bad boy, mixed with accurized rounds, again for that gnarly range on the glaive. And then actually for me, I think I'm going to go with either Killing Wind right here, or maybe Steady Hand, so you can get that handling for your other weapons, because you're probably pairing it with something like a hand cannon or a pulse rifle maybe, because you can use this bad boy up close as a melee weapon. So maybe go with Killing Wind on that. And then finally for me, I guess I would either choose Swashbuckler or Vorpal for that last trait for PvP. Not really sure which one to go for, because this would really just be for Guardians in their supers, but Swash you could get procced if you get those different kills and keep going with a nice chain. Now for PvE, this one, glaives are underwhelming for me, so I'm not really sure what to go with. But for me, I'm gonna go with ballistic tuning for that range again on that bad boy, and then we're gonna mix it right here with extended mag. I know I usually go like appended or tactical, but I think extended will be nice with those extra bolts inside of the glaive, just a little extra oomph on the weapon. So for the third column right here, I wasn't really sure where to go with it, so for me, I think I'm gonna go with tilting at windmills, just so you can get blocking damage with your shield. Increases your movement speed, so if you're using someone a little bit slower, you can block with this bad boy, get out of the way, and then go back and do your damage on them. And then again for me, I think I'm actually going to go with Vorpal, so you can do that extra damage on those champions and some of the stronger enemies with this bad boy, just because again, glaives for me just feel very underwhelming. So I think you need that little extra damage with Vorpal, so you can do Swashbuckler as well if there's some extra adds around, but Vorpal is going to be, at least me, my god roll for this weapon. Then last but not least right here, it's not a random roll, but we can get from the boss the new exotic pulse rifle right here. It's a void pulse rifle, the collective obligation, with some very interesting perks on it as well. So umbral subsistence right here. This weapon's magazine is automatically reloaded when you gain devour, a void overshield, or become invisible. So it works very well with our new void 3.0. And then void leech, very interesting. This weapon leeches void debuffs when damaging the targets that are suppressed, weakened, or volatile. Once you charge up the weapon by doing damage on these 3 types of enemies that have been suppressed, weakened, or volatile, you can change to an alternate fire action. In this mode, the damage from this weapon applies those same void debuffs that were leeched. So if you get volatile people defeated while you have this on, it charges the weapon, you switch to a certain mode, and then you can actually hit people with the rounds, and it causes that debuff volatile to be applied to those enemies. So it's very interesting. Can't wait to get this and do a full review on this weapon here. But that's really it for this video. We went over exactly where each of the weapons came from and then what each armor set also comes from, as you can see right here. The shout out to Squirrely Dan, nice Reddit user who came up with this loot table view for us. But yeah, nice God rolls for these weapons. Hopefully this helped you guys out on your grind through this raid. Super fun in my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.